No, I have not been raided by the police. Yet. This has to be one of the scariest stories coming out of my country in fucking months. During a nationwide police operation organized and carried out by the Federal Crime Police Office in 14 states, the apartments of up to 60 suspects were raided. Suspects of what, I hear you ask? Well, online hate speech. I fucking kid you not. Now, what did they post on the web? Apparently stuff that violated hate speech laws. Use of unconstitutional symbols, which refers to the Nazi symbols and the laws against using Nazi symbols, and apparently several of these cases are connected to language used in referring to the current refugee and migrant crisis. Special attention was apparently given to the investigation of a Nazi Facebook group. The president of the Federal Crime Police Office said the number of right-wing hate crime on the internet has risen since the refugee crisis. Attacks on refugee homes are often the result of radicalization on social media. What the fuck is online hate crime? And can you prove that these ramblings on the internet lead to actual fucking violence? You do realize that what people post on the web isn't actual fucking violence. The Minister of Justice Heiko Maas commented, "The determined actions taken by authorities should now make everyone think before they hit their keyboards." Fucking hell, does this guy even listen to the stuff he says? Hate comments are punished at court with big fines. A user who posted that Merkel should be stoned to death received a €2,000 fine. And this is one of the most horrifying statements I have read in a paper in quite a while. People who post on social media on or under their real name have to expect that they will be fired, as other users will inform their employers. Examples are a man who commented under the picture of the drowned refugee kid Aydin Kurdi that he was celebrating. So this is the state of my country right now. Francesca Ramsey and Zoe Quinn run my country's fucking justice system. I already can hear people saying something like, "Oh, well, those were just Nazis." Well, fuck, if you're not willing to defend the freedom to express views of even the worst kind of ideologues, then you're not someone who understands the concept of freedom of speech in a free society. Do you seriously believe that this government power will never be used against you? Do you not see the potential implications of having such power amassed? We have now reached a stage where when you post something online which the government doesn't agree with, the fucking SWAT team comes. I have already explained what the German hate speech laws are and how fucked and easily bendable they are, but let me show you again. The law states that those who assault the human dignity of a group on the basis of nationality, religion, race, ethnicity, through assaulting or maliciously maligning them with speech shall be punished. Human dignity. Human dignity is a constitutional term and refers to essentially a Bill of Rights, meaning this law here asserts that it is possible to infringe upon someone's rights with speech. According to this law, it is possible to take away someone's right to speech with your speech. And due to the nature of how this law lumps an entire plethora of groups together and asserts that it is possible to take their rights with rights, this fucking law can pretty much be interpreted in all sorts of fucking ways. The hate speech law of our country really only serves one purpose, and that is to show how useless, hypocritical and dumb hate speech laws are. I mean, if someone were to do the Nazi salute on a German street, the law would be coming for them, especially if you're German. But at the same time, people who happen to be of Middle Eastern origin and do the exact same thing do not get into any trouble at all with the law. This law, which proclaims to exist for the purpose of fighting fascism, somehow manages to further fascism. There really only is one way of combating stupid ideas in a free society, and that is the metaphorical flaw of the Roman Senate and the Roman Forum. Proclaim your ideas in the public sphere, and they have to withstand and fall within the court of public opinion. How did the government here amass the power and means to raid people's homes for the things they posted on social media? Well, that goes back to the beginning of the refugee and migrant crisis, and something I've been talking about frequently on my channels and on live streams on other channels. Back then, the Merkel government made a deal with Facebook. The Antonio Foundation was added into that mix as an organization that should help Facebook in surveilling the internet, and anyone found to be posting hate speech on Facebook would be reported with name and address to the German government and law enforcement. By the way, the person who runs the Antonio Foundation is a former Stasi. Those are the people who used to spy and torture people under the East German communist regime. So yeah, Facebook hired a former Stasi to surveil the internet and hand over private information of citizens to the state for the purpose of legal action. I am pretty sure there are still people here saying, oh, but those are just Nazis and you as a liberal shouldn't complain about that. Even after I show you some of the really creepy shit, like the Antonio Foundation's The New Right Wiki, which lists people by name who have right-wing political affiliations. So let me show you something else, something that should give you a good idea of who the people who run this online denunciation program are. What you are seeing here is a pamphlet handed out by the Institute for Media of the state government of North Rhine-Westphalia. It's kind of an instruction pamphlet on how to deal with hate speech on the internet and what hate speech is and what qualifies as hate speech. Its target readers are parents and employers. On its back cover, you will read that the Antonio Foundation is one of the contributors and authors of the pamphlet. On page 20, you will find instructions on how to report online comments to social media and the police, including an indirect, sly little suggestion that people might get fired for what they say online if their employers read their online comments. Yes, here you have a government pamphlet encouraging denunciation of citizens. But there is the important thing I wanted to get to as an example for what kind of people we are dealing with here, and which should show you very clearly that this is not just about Nazis. Some of you may have already noticed that Tommy Robinson, who isn't a Nazi in any way, is listed on their right-wing denunciation Wikipedia site, or wiki site. But even if you dislike Tommy Robinson, just look at this here. These are supposed examples of hate speech given in this government pamphlet that supposedly teaches you what hate speech is and how to report it. Some of its examples are just fucking hilarious, such as hate disguised as humor and irony. But now look at this. The advocacy of threats of sexualized violence, often in concentrated form. An example for such is the so-called hashtag Gamergate. Under that hashtag, during the year 2014, so much hatred was organized in form of murder and rape threats against the sexism critic and video blogger Anita Sarkeesian that she had to temporarily go into hiding. Public appearances had to be cancelled due to bomb threats. So here you have a government pamphlet declaring that Gamergate is essentially a criminal organization. And keep in mind that these people who wrote this pamphlet were given the authority to surveil Facebook, to take your private information, and to hand it over to the state for criminal prosecution. I know that a lot of you who are my German subscribers react baffled to examples of feminist nonsense coming out of Germany that I show to you, surprised over the fact that they exist here as well. Well, ours are somewhat different to those you encountered previously coming out of the United States. Whilst the Sarkeesians and Zoe Quinns in the US tried to win a media battle and lost, ours, like Witzerek, never really tried to win the public relations game and instead crept into government institutions and think tanks, and are now actively taking part in shaping what our government does. If you ever wondered why I have no Facebook account, this is why. And it should be abundantly clear to everyone who followed the news around the deals the government made with Facebook that if you live in Germany, you shouldn't be using Facebook as a platform. Auf Wiedersehen.